Hi. For the past month or so, many of you have been following the story of Snowflake, a kitty that came to us after being handed over by another rescue. They found him on the streets in a really terrible shape, and he had so many problems. He had been run over by a car, his skull had been crushed, there were fractures all over his head, and his palate was split in two, so there was a hole inside his mouth, and whenever he ate, the food went inside his lungs, creating infection, pneumonia. The poor kitty was in a really bad shape. When he arrived to us, I immediately noticed that on top of that, he was going to have a fungal infection, and I was right. Suddenly, all his body covered in fungus, and it became really difficult to even touch him. He was contagious. We had to be really careful because fungus spreads through the air, through contact. That was bad. To make matters worse, Snowflake couldn't eat because whenever he ate, the food would go through the other way. Pneumonia, infection, we had to figure out a way to close that hole as quickly as possible without going into serious surgery because his immune system was too weak. He couldn't handle a big surgery, it was gonna fail. So I spoke to my friend Jorge Llinás, one of the world's best surgeons and certainly one of the most creative, and he came out with this idea of putting a tap, a silicone tap that will block the hole in his palate, and that way he will be able to eat normally. You see, until now we had been feeding him through a tube. Well, two tubes actually. One, it was parenteral feeding through the nose, and then we put one through the esophagus directly to the stomach, to the stomach. But that was too complicated. He wasn't enjoying it. He was feeling uncomfortable. We had to do something else. And then he came out with this idea, this silicone tap that will practically block completely all access from food to the airways and to create infection. And that's what we did. From that moment on, the recovery has been astounding. Well, initially, we thought it was going to be much faster, but then there had been some other complications that have led to further testing. Anyway, today I'm going to give you an update on Snowflake. Watch it, because you will see an immediate change in the way he looked, but most importantly, you're going to understand the depth and the complications of this case. Have a look at this. This is Snowflake.
Snowflake. You're looking so handsome. I think he's doing much better. He's got a bit more flesh on his head. How do you see Snowflake?
It's been 5 days now since we managed to stabilise the most serious symptoms, and since then we've been trying to work out the etiopathogenesis of the disease, basically the underlying cause. We ran a full screening for all the infectious diseases that are very common in street cats: viral, parasitic, and bacterial. Thank God all came back negative. So we moved on to study him from an internal medicine perspective. When we did the ultrasound, Gyro, my colleague Marta, and I could clearly see that one of the adrenal glands was quite abnormal, with a very prominent cortex and a size that's not typical for this species. So we ran a test that's quite unusual in cats. because adrenal diseases are very rare in them. We were mainly trying to rule out Addison's syndrome. The test confirmed Addison's. Addison's is a dysfunction of the adrenal cortex, where it doesn't release glucocorticoids or mineralocorticoids, but it's extremely rare as a primary condition in cats. There are only a handful of cases described worldwide. The next step was to take an ultrasound-guided fine needle aspirate of the gland to study the cells, to check for possible cortical infiltration by a tumour, which could be adrenal lymphoma.
So, you've already done that aspirate?
Yes, we did the procedure on Friday and sent everything to IDEX. The plan is to go over it with the pathologists at IDEX, Jorge Castro and myself, so we can decide on a specific treatment to help him recover.
But look at Snowflake. He's a real Hollywood star. What a transformation he's gone through. His skin has improved, his fur has grown back, and he's put on weight.
Now we just need to see the results of those remaining tests. And he's still eating, as you can see.
He's eating, which means the prosthesis we placed in his palate is working.
A quick question. Will that prosthesis stay in permanently?
Once his general condition is excellent, we'll go ahead.
So that hole in his palate will be closed and the prosthesis removed.
Exactly.
2.47 kilos, and from the 2 kilos he weighed before.
Come on.
Topito,
Time to go.
nos vamos. Ahí.
I'll see you soon, all right?
Ahora sí que estás copito, copito, ¿eh?
You look amazing.
Venga, chaval.
You're doing so well.
So you've seen him. He looks much better. He clearly still sick. He clearly still has fungus, but he's recovering really well. Now, his mood is still very down, very subdued, but I'm pretty sure that very soon we're gonna have a completely normal cat climbing on things and being more active. For now, he remains at the hospital, his treatment continues, and as I said, what I show you today is a proof that before giving up on a life, before euthanizing a cat, as many people told me I should do, we had to give him a chance. Here he is. He's been fighting, he's recovering, he's feeling much better, and I'm sure he's gonna be a great cat. Well, he is already a great cat, but he's gonna have a great life very, very soon. In the meantime, if any of you would like to help, he remains at the hospital, he's on treatment, and there is a link at the bottom of the video. You can donate for Snowflake. Thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.